Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Tier 1 Level Consulting webinar, The Prompt Advantage, 5 Secrets to Getting More from ChatGPT and Wealth Management. Today, we're going to explore how AI is revolutionizing wealth management and how you can use strategic prompting to enhance productivity, client communications, and business growth. We're thrilled to have two exceptional speakers with us today, both from Tier 1. Curtis Brown, a seasoned wealth advisor, author, and coach consultant who is experienced in leveraging AI to optimize client outcomes. And Robert Ross, widely recognized for disciplined execution and his passion for professional and personal development. He is a seasoned executive leader with expertise in both tactical and strategic execution. Together, they'll share actionable insights to help you unlock the full potential of AI in your practice. Thank you for joining us. And now let me turn it over to Curtis.
Hello, everyone. I appreciate you joining us today. I'm going to spend most of my time on the live demo. Robert's going to spend some time taking you through the 5 secrets of getting more from ChatGPT and wealth management. Now, one of the things we do want to make clear is that you can use the prompts that we're going to coach you on today inside Gemini, Claude, Copilot, whatever what we call large language, learning language model that you happen to be using. So with that, we're going to turn it over to Robert Ross. And any questions that you have, go ahead and type them in. Cindy will grab the questions and feed it back to us. We may not get to all of them, but would like to communicate with you and make this somewhat interactive. So, Robert?
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Cindy. Appreciate that kind introduction. So as we get started, I'm going to be going through the secrets of our 5 secrets for successful prompting. And I will tell you that the prompting is so powerful. It's not a Google search. It really is working with a partner or somebody on your team. If you think about AI as an additional team member, and you maybe are delegating a task or asking a group of professionals to perform something, you would give them a very detailed instruction. And so we're going to talk about how to do that. Prompts are your superpower. It really, really makes a difference. So let's go right in, jump right in, go to the first secret. So the first secret, start with clear context. I learned this over time. I didn't do this initially, but I did learn that it helps a lot if you are asking AI to do something, that you give it some clarity. First, your identity. What role are you in? In the case of our work, we are oftentimes coaching a wealth advisor or a manager. The other thing you need to do is tell AI what role you want AI to be in. So how is AI functioning in this role? And then lastly, the task or the purpose. What is the outcome that you're trying to achieve? And so if you look at the bottom of this slide, you can see there's actually it says try. And here's something that I think is helpful. So instead of writing out, write a client email about market volatility. Maybe that's a prompt that you might use. But a better prompt would be able to do what I just described. You're a financial advisor writing to high net worth clients about recent market volatility. And your goal is to reassure them while explaining our defensive positioning. And if you give AI that direction, it'll give you a very different outcome than from the first question. So the key takeaway is to have context, be relevant, and to be very specific. So let's go
Robert,
to,
I have a question.
yes.
So a lot of advisors here already use ChatGPT casually, for example, writing emails, client meeting summaries, or ideas. But why do you say that prompts are the new superpower in wealth management? What makes prompting such a game changer for advisors?
You know, that's a great question. Thank you for that. Um, it really is a mindset. It's the difference between um, average and exceptional results. And so if you ask a prompt in a very average way and you don't have a lot of clarity, you're going to get an average kind of response. But if you can be very detailed, it really makes a difference. So it's about knowing how to direct AI. Very good question. Thank you for that one. Let me keep on moving. Secret number two, be very specific with the instructions. And so by that, you know, what we mean is you need to specify the format, you know, how you want the output to be structured. Do you want charts and graphs? Do you want comparisons? There's different ways to ask for deliverables. You also want to talk about the tone. You want to define the emotional tone. You know, confident, reassuring, authoritative, conversational. Um, you can say you want it to be casual if you're talking to a really close client. And then to also identify the audience so that AI can respond appropriately based on the audience. Are you talking to other professionals? Are you talking to clients? All of these things matter. And so here's an example. And I'm just going to read the one that's right on the screen because it's terrific. So create a market update with exactly 3 sections. What happened, what it means, what we recommend. Use a confident but cautious tone appropriate for an ultra high net worth client with 10 million or more in assets. By giving AI that direction, it'll give you a very appropriate response. And you also get the opportunity, obviously, to tweak the responses or to do more work on the prompt. And we'll get to that as we move into some of the other secrets. But this is a really important one. And I would say the key takeaway here is that the better your prompt, the less refinement you have to do. And sometimes you can get responses back that are not exactly what you were looking for, and that's a function of what you asked for. So you really have to be clear on how you want AI to respond. And that makes a big difference. It also will give you good consistency. And because these are large learning models, AI will begin to learn how you like to communicate and how you like to present information. And that'll take me to secret number 3. Use iterative prompting. This is so important, very high impact. So if you think about this as sort of like when you're delegating work to somebody that's working with you, you know, you want to start with a basic draft. You want to, as an example, create market volatility for update for clients, something simple. And then you want to be able to refine it as you move forward. So you may do several prompts to get to the language and the material that you want. So you want to make the subject line more urgent and compelling. That's something that a lot of times is overlooked. People ask for a prompt, they get back information, and they didn't focus on what was on the subject line. So you got to pay attention to all of the different components that are coming back. You want to tailor it. So if you're talking to high net worth clients or ultra high net worth clients, or if you're talking to business owners, or if you're talking to other professionals, it really matters how you let AI know what segment or who the audience is. And then lastly, you can ask AI to add some other detail or information that AI might assess, and oftentimes AI might ask you if you are interested in some more information, some detail, maybe even some footnotes. And so it's a really good way to get a much better result. So iterative prompting is really important. And the key takeaway on this one is, I love this. It says iteration sculpt excellence. Each refinement brings you closer to the perfect output. And so as your AI learns you and understands who you are, so in my case, I actually uploaded my resume to my AI so that it had my full background and my experience, and it uses that when I ask it to do things. That brings us to secret number 4. Anchor with examples. So important, very high impact technique. If you have an example of what you'd like to create, what you'd like AI to do, something maybe that you've seen before, you can actually upload that document. There's a little plus sign, typically where the input is, for where you're prompting, where you're entering your prompt. If you hit that plus sign, you can upload documents. You can upload, if you're talking to clients about market conditions, you can upload your firm's latest market commentary. You can upload other communications that you've seen and let AI know that here's an example of what you're trying to create. And so this really helps. You'd be surprised the output that you'll get if you put that kind of information in. So anchoring with examples is really, really important, and it really takes your prompting to a whole nother level. This will give you great results. Try it. I'm sure that you will like it a lot. I love this. The key takeaway is it serves as GPS for AI, giving it directing it precisely toward your desired destination. I think that's just a good example, and it's very impactful. Do we have secret number 5? This really takes your prompting to the next level. And so if you define a next action, so when you are prompting, you can ask AI to do things at the end to help create the next steps or the call to action, if you will. So whether it's taking meeting notes, so a lot of people use AI tools to take meeting notes. You can ask AI to do specific things with those notes, not just create a summary. So in this example we have here, we talk about identifying some next steps or some key talking points, maybe even help you draft an email, a follow-up email. So AI, as you know, when you prompt, it'll create the action, but then it'll ask you if you want to do more things. And so I think it's really important when you're doing things like portfolio reviews. You can ask it to do specific, call out specific data, maybe even create a presentation from it, information that you could use to transfer to another AI tool, to create some graphics to help, really bring points home. Very important. A tool like Gamma, where you might be able to create a deck or a PowerPoint. And then lastly, having AI draft emails for follow-up, do meeting agendas. Maybe even in the case of presentations, you might want it to go through and help you with some talking points. And so this kind of takes it to the next level and really gives you a complete tool. And so a key takeaway here is to end with an actionable deliverable. The most valuable outputs aren't just informative, they're immediately actionable. And while that might seem simple, once you incorporate these 5 secrets, you're going to see some really amazing results and see your prompting generate much, much better outputs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over, Curtis is actually going to go in, we're going to do some live examples. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Curtis, to go ahead
And
do some demos.
we have another question too.
Yes.
So you coach many high-performing teams. Can you give an example of how better prompting can directly save advisors time or improve their client experience, something they can put into practice today?
Yes. So that's a great question. So one of the things that can happen is you can find yourself going back and forth. And specificity, which I would say is probably one of the biggest things that you can do to get better outputs. Being really clear, defining who AI, the role AI is in, what you expect, that really helps. The iterative prompting really helps. And one of the things that you might find is you're getting different answers when you prompt and you're not getting the consistency. And that just means that your model, your large learning model is still getting to know you and giving you different outcomes. So the more consistent you are with the way you prompt, the better your outputs will become, and they'll be more consistent.
Thank you.
Yep. Mr. Brown, we're going to go over to you for the
Okay.
live demo.
All right. Well, thank you very much. So they charged me with flipping back and forth on moving between slides and the live demo. So, bear with me and I will pull this up. Can you see my screen yet, Robert?
It's coming up now.
Okay, very good.
It's up.
Okay, so the participants can now see the screen. So what I'm going to do is rather than type in all of the pre-prepared prompts, I don't have the answers. So, we're going to see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the first prompt. And what I'll do is take my prompt. And by the way, you're going to be receiving a playbook on prompting. It'll have approximately 27 prompts that you can use. So let me paste this one in there, see if it comes in. Whoa, I'm getting emojis. There we go. So here's the prompt. Remember, you want to give it a role. So I'm a financial advisor, and now you want to give it context. I want to improve workflow automation across my client segments. And then you want to give it your outcome. What are you looking for? I want to get your suggestions and recommendations. So I'm going to go ahead and click enter, and let's see what this has put together for me. And this is going to be my first time looking at this. And what I'll do is I won't read through every item on here, but I'll give you, let's just talk about the headers. So workflow automation for financial advisors, focused on elevating the client experience. And it tells you, look, it's not just about efficiency, it's about creating a consistent, high-touch, concierge-level client experience at scale. And then what it does, it gives below the most effective strategies and recommendations to elevate your client experience through automation. So it'll talk about segmentation, why it matters. Each segment receives customized service, touches tailored to what they value most. Create standardized service models for each segment. Build a client concierge model for each tier. And then it gives you examples. So for top tier strategic partner clients, quarterly proactive outreach, monthly personalized market updates, so on and so forth. Now, you don't have to follow each of these responses to the letter, but look at what you're currently doing and say, hey, are there some things we're missing out on that I could be using? Many of these things we coach on in our Tier 1 coaching program. So for core clients, semi-annual reviews, automated reminders, and for emerging clients, maybe digital-first communications. These are probably being utilized by your junior partners on your financial advisor team. Automate communication touch points. Build workflow templates for repetitive tasks. Use trigger-based automation. So Automation should activate when a client's portfolio hits a certain threshold, a planning milestone approaches, or a tax deadline or an RMD distribution period begins. Then it gets into personalized automation with some AI tools. Use AI to elevate, not replace the human experience. So AI can draft follow-ups for you that are personalized. Sometimes if I draft an email, I will tell AI, I would like you to really humanize this response. So tell it the tone, as Robert described earlier, of exactly what you want. And then automate meeting preparation and follow-up. Oftentimes during meeting prep, I will have AI direct the commentary and the agenda creation and give me a slide outline that I can paste in a presentation AI tool like Gamma. And it'll give me a full presentation in roughly 5 minutes. So what happens is your meetings become more strategic, efficient, and value-driven. Build a 12-month service calendar for each segment. Integrate lending, banking, and cash management into workflows. Track everything on a team scoreboard. I'm a firm believer that every team member should have a key performance indicator. The person responsible for financial planning and plan implementation. How many plans did we do today? How many follow-up calls regarding planning did we keep? And in summary, what you're trying to do really is improve the client experience. Proactive communication, consistency, faster execution tasks. And so it will even ask you if you want some refinements. Do you want it in a Word document? Do you want a client-facing one-pager? Do you want a checklist for workflow automation? Do you want a script that you can use with clients? Do you want a segmented service calendar template? Just tell me what you want. So one of the reasons why I like using ChatGPT is when you get a learning language model, it begins to know your behavior. And so you don't have to ask it quite as much in terms of the refinements that you want because it knows who you are. Okay, so now let's go to a new chat. So I go over here, click on new chat, and then I'm going to go back to my list of prompts that I have pre-developed inside Word, and I'm going to copy, and I'm going to go back to my ChatGPT, and I'm going to paste that prompt in. Now, this is a pretty extensive prompt, and the reason I did it is I wanted to show you the complexity and the detail of developing a more sophisticated prompt. So again, I don't know what kind of answer we're going to come up with, but I said, look, we're a 4-member team. We're involved in a competitive situation with a prospect. They're working with JP Morgan Chase and Charles Schwab. The prospect is going to meet with us, and I just called it the Brown team at Merrill. And as a team, we want to win the business based on our private experience, our private wealth experience. And we want to win the business based on our 20 years of industry experience and based on the capabilities of our firm and our robust platform and competitive advantages. And I'm asking this to create a matrix showing the key differentiators versus JP Morgan, Fidelity, and Merrill Lynch. So I know that I had asked it to do Schwab. So let me take that out and put Schwab in there. Now, if I made the issue and I clicked on it anyway, I could ask it to refine and add Schwab. So that's one of the things that you can do, and it forgives you if you misspell something. So let's put that one in. That's the prompt. Now let's see what it comes up with. So it says a clean advisor-ready comparison matrix. So here you are, an advisor, and you're trying to win a $10 million relationship, but you need to be able to articulate your value proposition versus what the competitors might be offering. So what it does is it breaks it down in terms of client profile fit. It looks at JP Morgan Chase, and it looks at Schwab. So you can articulate this to the client. Your team experience, your investment platform, banking and lending, wealth planning. I'm not going to read through all of this. You can read it as we go. Digital reporting, alternative investment access. So what this is doing is it's really setting you up for success versus your competitor. Now, I've asked it to provide some pros and cons and create a matrix around that. So this is why you should be dealing with the Brown team. And the cons, large institution, may feel complex. And so what you're going to say is, look, you know, we may be large, but you're dealing with us. You're dealing with our team. And then it gives you the pros and cons of each of the competitors. Then it provides another line on how to use this in a meeting. So it's going to provide me with some talking points because we prompted it to do so. And it says you're comparing three strong institutions, all have strengths. And then what differentiates us from our competitors? Show the contrast clearly is what it's asking me to do. Now, once you get through that, it's got some recommendations. Would you like me to create a slide deck? This is used to me taking things that are created and using them for multi-purposes, like creating an article, creating a LinkedIn post, creating a slide deck, creating a script to present at the upcoming meeting. It can do all of those things. So that is an example using a more complex prompt. Okay, let's go to a new chat, and we'll do one more. So I'll go back to the prompts that I created in my Word document, and I'm going to go ahead and copy, and I'm going to go back to my new chat. I clicked on new chat, and look at how it's personalized this. Hey, Curtis, ready to dive in? So I'm going to go ahead and paste this one. Again, role. I'm a financial advisor because that's our primary audience. Trying to determine if I should incorporate lending in my practice. Help me get up to speed with our lending product line for potential high net worth clients. Your suggestions and recommendations are appreciated. And see, I give it a little bit of tone, and it kind of responds to me in kind. So I'll click enter. And then what it does, it gives me a clear advisor-ready overview to get up to speed incorporating lending in the practice. And again, I didn't see what this was going to come up with before, but it says lending's now a core component of modern private wealth advice. Why does it matter for your clients? And it gives you a list of opportunities. And if you don't offer solutions, clients will borrow elsewhere, often leading to asset outflows. Advisors who integrate lending report. Now, I can go as far as asking after I get information like this, give me some citations and evidence of what you have identified for me. And it will provide the citations and studies, links to those studies. Core lending products I should know. Securities-backed lending and the risks, custom credit, tailored solutions, residential lending. You can take this and you can print it out, put it in a notebook. You can, put it in a sleeve, protect it, and go back to it as a reference point. Specialty and lifestyle lending, how to raise lending in the client conversation. So it gives you some conversation starters for real estate, for business owner, for tax smart wealth strategies, and then the benefits to you as an advisor and the best practices. Introducing lending proactively, partnering with your internal lending specialist, build a lending dashboard, and questions to ask a prospect that might be using a competitor. See how this thing kind of remembers? Next steps. So here's some immediate actions. I can create a one-page lending capability sheet, and you can tell it, create that one-page sheet in an MS Word document available for download, and it will give you that document available for download. Craft a balance sheet management pitch. Add lending as a module to my training manual. So it knows who I am, and so it looks at opportunities for me to develop more business. Because this is my ChatGPT. It's not a general one, okay? So these are some of the things that it is willing to do. All right, let's go back. First of all, let's take a pause and find out if there are any questions about the three prompts. It's about 1:35. We got a little bit of time for some Q&A. Would somebody like to have me put a prompt in? One that
So first of all, I had a question. Where did it get the info for Brown and Company?
I put that in there. See, I put, remember the last prompt? Remember I said these are learning language models? It remembers who I am. So my last name is Brown, and I use that as an example. And so that's how it remembered.
Are there any other prompts people would like him to put in? And while they're thinking about that, Curtis, I got another question.
Okay.
One of the challenges advisors mention is inconsistent results when they use AI. Sometimes the output is great, sometimes it misses the marks. What is the biggest reason for that inconsistency, and how can advisors fix it immediately?
Okay, so sometimes you have to go back and look at, did you describe your role appropriately? Did you describe the context appropriately? And if you didn't describe the context appropriately, you'll get a general answer. And so what you have to do is don't go back and re-prompt. Tell ChatGPT, let's see, let's say that I go in and I'm going to move this up a little bit, and I'm going to say, tell me what the top two lending products are in this current environment. So this is what I call a refinement. So if you didn't get the kind of answer that you want, and since we're on this one, you can go ahead and tell it to give you a refinement. This is a refinement. I click on it. So securities-backed line of credit, pledged asset lines, why it's top right now. And it goes in and describes that. And it gives you key considerations and risks and how you should position it. And then it says jumbo, because remember, I asked for 2 refinements. And so it refined the existing prompt to give me 2 additional top 2 lending products that I should use, key considerations, and risk. Why those 2 and not the others? Gives me some response and my recommendation for your practice. So it lays all that out. And if you like, I can pull together market-specific rate snapshot tables and sample client story you can use in a presentation. I can ask it to go ahead and do that. I won't do that today because it'll get a little bit lengthy in terms of the response. But you can go on and refine. Now, if in my prompt, in the very beginning, if I had gone in and said, based on this first prompt, additionally, give me 2 of the top products I can use for that environment, in this environment, it would have given me that response in the first, activity, as opposed to me having to add a refinement. So sometimes you are not well thought out in what the input or the context you provide. That's okay. You can always go back and ask for further refinements. And once you continue to do that, you're going to learn a little bit more on how to create the kind of prompts that you want to. But we want to make it a little easy for you by at least giving you 27 prompts that you can use. And that will be a guidepost, to help you. Okay, let me now go back to the presentation. And again, I'm the slide manipulator, so I'm got to go back and forth. So give me, just a moment. And let's see, I think we ended up here. So the bonus tip here is, and we got on that whole subject, and that was a great question. So the bonus tip here after the 5 secrets is refine, don't restart. And so when you're faced with a disappointing draft, resist the urge to start over, just like I did, just like I demonstrated to you. Add more clarity, add more direction. You can tell it to make it more technical and data-driven. You can tell it to give you citations, clarify the audience needs, tell it that, your focus is on a business owner clientele or a professional corporation. Or I need you to improve the structure. Recognize this into a problem, impact, and solution format. Create a table for me. It'll do that. You tell it what you want it to do for you. And so the small refinements can create breakthrough results. So again, when you are prompting is the key to all these LLMs, whether you're using, going from text to speech, using another AI tool, you really got to get a handle on prompting. This isn't like using Google or Bing and doing a Google search. This is role, context. I can play the role of an architect. I can play the role of a business owner. Whatever role that you want it to play, it will produce the kind of response and act out that role and give you a response relative to that role. So what we're saying here is your words are your leverage. Use them well and let ChatGPT become more than a tool. Let it become a member of your team, a force multiplier for your business. So this is the only commercial you're going to get from us. We've developed a leadership development program. We've got a program for financial advisors that we coach on. And so we integrate AI throughout our 13 modules. So enhanced communications, we've developed some templates, and we've developed training programs for managers to build AI enhanced teams. And so we'd like to hear from you and explore how smarter prompting can transform your team's performance and create sustainable competitive advantage in wealth management. And so here's what we're finding. About a 30% increase in client touch points, about a 45% reduction in routine task time, and a 90% advisor satisfaction with AI enhanced workflows. So schedule a consultation with us. It's not just about AI. It's AI is now that extended member of your team, someone that you can partner with to help you grow your practice. It's 1:46. We've got time for a couple more questions before we close it out. Any questions, Cindy, from the floor?
I don't see any currently.
Okay, well, that includes our topic for today. Be on the lookout for future topics on a variety of different subjects. I want to thank you very much for your participation and joining us on today's webinar. And we'll follow up with you. We'll post the presentation and we'll send you the playbook. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye for now.
Thank you, everyone.